Chad, you're live.
Biscuit.
Well, I'm not showing live on my end.
I am.
So, here we go.
Oh,
What the crap?
what the?
Oh,
Babe, we've
All
been
right.
sitting here waiting to start
unprofessional.
for like 10 minutes, and you're not ready.
somebody just commented pack of oatmeal like a pack of bacon, son. Oh, man. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the 3 of 7 podcast. Yeah, I'm recording there. Okay, yeah. Hey, guys. Look, with technical difficulties today, you know, our tech guy, he does the best he can. But
we need to hire a new one.
look, man, I try to tell y'all, I don't know if y'all understand look, this YouTube channel could go away at any minute. It could go away. I was listening to a dude the other day. Have you ever watched those documentaries, Chili, Agenda and Agenda 2, I think? Have you watched them?
No.
Well, Andy had that guy on his podcast the other day. Really good Christian guy, actually. But they're all about, these documentaries are apparent. I want to watch them. They're apparently all about the communist agenda here in America. Yeah. And listen to this guy. So they just deleted his whole YouTube channel. They just took it down. No warnings, no strikes, no nothing.
Yeah, that's happened with multiple people, but anything could go away like that, though.
Anything.
It's not just YouTube.
Anything, exactly. Well, I think because you know, the stuff you give me to talk about on these truck talks, man, it's highly dislikable to the YouTube.
You think?
Well, you'd think it was. You know, you don't give me easy things to talk about on these truck talks. Well. And so, you know, that's why I created this other channel, Chad Rite 278. If this thing goes down, hopefully the other one will stay up and we keep rocking and rolling, man. But we was just trying to log on this live thing, man, and it's just jacking with us. And so we're trying to get this squared away.
You think you're being targeted?
All of YouTube might go down.
All of YouTube might go down.
Whole world might go down.
That's why we got Patreon, man. Stay hard.
What the crap?
Can I tell you what this morning in the month? Chili.
That's a weird fella right there.
Chili. Let me tell you, this morning we're all grabbing our weights at the gym and there's a bunch of people in a small area. And he looks at me, he goes, "Baby, I'm so hard." And then just walks away.
Gosh.
And I was like, why would you do that? That's like
hard.
That's the most awkward thing ever. Why would you do that?
I'm already not a fan of this one.
I stay hard, man.
Let's clean it up.
Well, listeners,
Filthy.
Welcome back to the 3 of 7 podcast. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for being here, man. We love you guys. The live interaction element of our podcast is really unique, and I'm thankful that you guys join us live on these conversations. We might take some questions from you guys at the end, at least from the 3 or 4 of you who have enough sense to ask a question that's worthy of being answered. And if you're listening on audio, thank you for being here. This is the 3 of 7 podcast. We got Pope Chili sitting up in the house with his denim vest on, his barbell joggers, his barbell long sleeve. Oh, it's that time of year, son. I got my 1 mile out barbell joggers on right now. It's that time of year. These britches right here are just a game changer for running and working out in the wintertime. You know, you walk outside, you get that cold air hitting you on your legs. It don't make no difference to me because I stay hard, son. But if you are soft and you walk outside and you don't want that cold air hitting you on the legs, look, man, I wore these joggers for daggone I don't know, 100+ miles out at Cocodona when it got cold up there in the high elevations. I got them on this morning, son, because it's cold. It's that time of year. If you're going to look, a lot of y'all get fat and lazy in the wintertime because you don't want to get out and exercise because you're scared of the cold. Get you some daggone barbell joggers. Get your butt out the house. The cold air is going to be off your legs. You're going to be all right. Get out there and get after it. Check them out at barbellapparel.com. You can actually get you this special one I got on right here, 1 mile out. That's from the documentary that you guys have hopefully watched on YouTube. This is a special lineup. Man, these things, they're tapered down at the ankle just right. Plenty of room for my big, strong, sexy quads up in the top. Fit nicely around the waist. Make me look good, like I always should. Pope Chili's in the house. We got Taylor Swift sitting in the seat beside Pope Chili, also known as Biscuit. And then, but a man behind the scenes that makes it all come alive, that brings it to you in the back alleys of New York City.
What?
We got Bishop Blake.
What?
Count the money.
Ew. Gross.
Count the money.
Oh, man. WWE ain't got nothing on that intro.
That was so disturbing.
That's what we got for y'all this morning. Y'all don't even know where y'all tuned up into this
Look
morning,
at all the drool on his beard.
Dark Side Bob done give 3 pounds and said, calm down, son.
Bob, keep sending them pounds. Boy, I'm looking for some Canadian gold up in here. You got Canadian gold? Send it my way.
When people ask us where I see myself in 5 years, where I see myself is in a WWE ring tag teaming with Chad. That's where I see myself.
You
Can we
mean you don't
arrange
see
that?
yourself in a sweatshop packing orders with a bunch of other people?
That's where I should, huh?
Count the money, boy. Yeah, I've been looking for that dang Canadian gold. See, y'all don't know the side of me that's a leprechaun. All right?
What is wrong with you today?
You could just forget about all the gold and go for Bitcoin.
No, I like gold, son.
Don't you think Bitcoin's going to save the planet?
Well, I don't know. I'm just interested in stacking my gold.
The blockchain? It's going to solve all the problems?
He's in the NFTs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm into NFTs, buying picture, digitalized
What?
pictures of somebody, man.
What?
Yeah, I'm into that NFT. Bishop Blake, he's counting money. He's making it happen for y'all. And then we have got Cardinal Rite. That's me.
What the crap?
Yeah, the Pope made me a cardinal.
Is that above? That's below?
Oh, yeah, everything's below the Pope.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has power. He has power vested in him to deem me a cardinal. And so it was between a deacon.
Thank
It was between a deacon and a cardinal.
Dink
and
and Chad.
And I preferred to be a cardinal because I like birds. Now, I was wondering, can anybody explain this to me? And then, Biscuit, you got a segment coming up.
Yeah, and I have a surprise, too.
Okay, we got a segment, Biscuit, coming up. Can anybody explain to me this? YouTube, if you're listening on here, please explain this to me. I'm not kidding y'all, man. Almost every single time I go for a run, a four-wheeler ride, I'm hunting, almost every single time I'm in the woods, a bird of prey will be around me. Swoop down. Sometimes they'll fly beside me. Sometimes they'll swoop down right in front of me. Sometimes they'll be sitting in a tree just watching me. Do any of y'all else experience this? I'm talking about.
I do.
Almost every time I go out, I will see
Really, I do.
a hawk or an owl. And I'm talking about close. I mean, I've had these jokers on multiple occasions, like come down,
Land right on your
glide
shoulder.
right beside me. What is going on, man? Why is this happening to me?
You want me to tell you what you're
This
about?
has been happening for years.
Happening to you?
Yeah, this has been happening for years. It's not normal.
Well, we cohabitate the earth with birds. I don't know if you knew that.
Blake said it happens to him too, boo.
It don't happen to him as much though,
How do you know?
because I just know it's just something unique to me that I'm.
He's a cardinal.
What's the sign here? I need you viewers on YouTube, interpret this sign for me. What do these birds of prey want from me?
Lord.
Everybody always looking for a sign.
Yeah, I mean they want something from me, and I can't figure it out. So, but it keeps happening. You know, it's deer season. I'll tell y'all a deer hunting story later if we have time. What's up? I don't know whether to call you Taylor Swift or Biscuit.
There's literally nothing about me that's like Taylor Swift. I don't know why y'all think that's funny.
You a good looking woman, boo boo.
You are out of control today. So my first surprise before we get to my segment is that it's Chili's birthday. So I got him this. He thinks nobody knows when his birthday is, but I found out when his birthday is.
Happy birthday, Chili.
So I got you that.
That is a lopsided muffin right
Happy
there.
birthday.
That
You
looks,
got a muffin top that looks like that. You in bad shape.
All right.
Happy birthday, Chili.
that looks like
Happy birthday.
That looks like a fat woman that got to turn on a G-force left turn. All her fat went to one side.
Looks like somebody rode a mountain bike too long. All their fat went to the front.
I've seen that before.
Chili, it's your birthday for real, man?
That's what they tell me.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that info from?
I can't say.
Oh, I posted a video the other day. I'll get to that later. All right, let's get with your segment, baby. What's
Okay.
your segment?
My segment
Explain
is
to the folks at home what a segment is.
a segment is anything that I decide I want to come up with to make you guys do at the beginning of the podcast.
Okay.
There's a special segment here.
This is a U.S. history segment.
Mm.
And I failed miserably at it. Okay. Who was inaugurated on April 30th, 1789?
Inaugurated as what?
President.
1789?
Yep. April 30th, 1789.
Oh, it wouldn't be John Adams.
Chili
89's
Blake, if y'all.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson is what I would have said.
George Washington.
What?
It's literally on whitehouse.gov. That's when he was sworn in.
In
As the first-
89?
1789, April 30th, 1789, the first president of the United States.
Well, good for
That's
him.
what they want you to think.
Yeah, that's not real.
That's
history.
on that government info. That's what they want you to think.
On April
Did
9th.
anybody on YouTube get that right?
Well, nobody. Somebody said Reagan. James,
Reagan!
James Wright said Bill Clinton.
Holy
Okay.
crap.
On April 19th, 1775, the Revolutionary War started with the battles of what? There's two of them.
1775.
April 19th.
The
first two battles
Look at him.
of the Revolutionary War.
That's the shot heard around the world, man.
What battle is it?
In the
I'm surprised you don't know this stuff, Chili.
Lexington.
Yeah? Did someone say it?
No, I just knew it.
Did you? You lied.
Yeah, it's
Lexington and Concord.
Concord, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
Everybody
what I
knows
was going to say. Yeah, I was actually going to say that. Yeah, the Battle of Lexington and Concord for sure. And shortly after that was the Battle of Gettysburg.
And
Okay.
then you had Washington got inaugurated. a little bit after that.
Last question. Name the first 5 presidents of the United States.
Well, this was a good segment.
Shut up.
Well, I know we got George Washington now. You told us that earlier.
Yeah. Number 2.
John Adams.
Nice, babe.
Yeah, I read a bibliography called John Adams.
Wow.
It's a big book.
I
but-
remember that.
Yeah, it's a really good book. John Adams was a interesting guy. I actually like John Adams better than I like George
Look,
Washington.
just stick to the question. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, then James Monroe. It's easy.
Oh dang! That's
He's
where I
getting
was
that
going.
off of YouTube.
Why do
Come
you
on,
have
guys.
to? Why are you stealing my answers, dude?
You didn't know it. You forgot, so you went off on this tangent about how you
All right,
read a
I
book
got
about John
one
Adams.
More.
You
I
didn't
got one
know.
more then. I got
There
one
you go,
more.
yeah.
What was the first state to ratify the Constitution? December 7th, 1787. The first state.
First state to ratify the Constitution, Virginia.
No, man, it's Connecticut.
Delaware.
Delaware ain't even a state, man.
That's where Joe Biden hails from.
That's it. I really suck at that U.S. history. We were
I
talking.
must say, I got my answers from YouTube. So, YouTube people, if y'all, Lucy Ann, you gave me those presidents and you nailed it. So, appreciate y'all.
YouTube, thank you guys for making us look smart for once.
Well, I was talking crap about people who don't know basic U.S. history the other day, and I was like, well, do I know any basic, like,
And
US?
you didn't know it?
I mean, I knew a few things, but no, I did not, like, most of those I didn't know all of the answer. Uh-oh.
Well, I've read a bibliography on both George Washington. It's called Washington. And then one on John Adams. And actually, George Washington, yes, pretty cool cat, but let me tell you, he advocated heavily for more control being granted to the federal government. He was a federalist, all right? And he advocated for a lot of power being also given to the President of the United States as the first President of the United States. Thomas Jefferson couldn't freaking stand him. I think I don't remember if James Madison, I know John Adams didn't like him either because he was advocating for, when they're like standing up the structure of the government, a lot of George Washington's peers were against a standing army. Did y'all know that? Mm-mm. Yeah. It's George Washington who advocated for a standing army. His peers just wanted each state to be in charge of their own militia that could basically be called up, right? So if something happened, if the United States were attacked, it would be each state would supply forces from their militia. And the militia of a state wasn't like a full-time gig, right? I like that model personally. But yeah, a lot of the freaking crap that we have to deal with today is because of all the power that George Washington advocated for as a Federalist. See, back then there wasn't Republican and Democrat. It was Federalist, and excuse my language, but I forget the other one.
What?
But that was the two parties, those two.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's foul language.
So
Sounds French.
there's your daggone history lesson, man.
That was a good one.
Yeah. George, George,
That was good.
George, he was just a little power hungry, man. I mean, good dude. Definitely a little bit power hungry, though.
You didn't like serving under him, did you?
No, I didn't. No, he wasn't my favorite president to serve under. All right. Oh, I can't continue on without showing these right here.
Ooh.
Our friend Noah Stagg, he came out and did a rite of passage course with us.
Dang.
He sent us these cutting boards. He called them chopping blocks, but they're really, really nice. Got a 307 logo and a Pinhoti Trail logo.
That's pretty cool.
On the bottom of them. Yeah.
He must have known that you
Really
grabbed
cool.
our cutting board the other day to pick it off the counter and broke it in half.
Yeah, it's falling apart.
You remember when
this
you
was
did
perfect timing. I mean, these things are heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is legit, man.
That's cool.
Look, this one's for you, Chili. The small one's for you.
Well, it's
Well,
cool.
because he don't have much room at his house
Yeah.
for all the boxes he's got.
That's for you when you're
Well, it's
I
very
don't know.
nice. I
When
like
he's
that.
counting that
Freaking
money.
eating Ritz crackers or whatever the crap. you
Ritz
eat.
crackers and tuna.
Yeah,
When you cut the cheese, you can put it on there.
I mean that's perfect timing. That's a substantial gift right there.
Yeah, for real.
It really is.
That's pretty cool.
Noah
Noah Stagg.
Stagg. Yep. So what's on your mind this morning, guys? What's going on?
What?
What's up, baby?
I like how sometimes you ask a question and then you start talking.
Yeah, what's up?
I wanted to tell Chili about how yesterday you got really mad at me for saying bless you when you sneezed.
Yes, I did.
Chad got mad?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I thought it was really inappropriate.
Because it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Why? I'm over here sneezing my freaking head off, dude.
And he's like, bless you, bless you,
Yeah,
bless you. Bless you.
I'm literally like machine gun sneezing. And she's saying bless you after every sneeze. And I'm like, that is so freaking stupid. It is stupid to bless someone after a sneeze. Like, does anybody know where that came from?
Now, can you control your anger any better than that?
Thank you, Chili.
I mean, come on, man.
Thank you. Chili's always good about talking some sense into you.
I don't like it either.
You know what I did?
Well,
It's stupid.
It ain't that I don't agree with you, but it's just, I mean, come on, man. Pick your battles.
Well, you got to know that he wasn't actually mad about that. He was mad about something else, and that was like, look, this just aggravates me, and you're about to get both barrels.
I mean, you take out your annoyance over someone saying bless you?
Well, so I've
Jeez.
look, man, but how is that not a stupid response to somebody sneezing? I mean, I'm just being real.
Can I defend myself and say that once the machine gun sneezing started, that I turned it into a song? That way it was just a continuous blessing instead of multiple bless yous.
That's even more aggravating, ain't it?
I thought it was great. Oh, someone says your heart stops when you sneeze.
That's what they say.
So you actually survived a near-death experience, so you need to be blessed. You're welcome.
I'll tell you what, man. Look, there's so many little silly niceties that our weak, comfortable, complacent culture allows for that are just so ridiculous and such it's a waste of breath and words and
You think please and thank you are a waste, don't you?
Yes, all of those. Like saying please. No, don't say please. Just tell me what the crap you need.
Don't listen to him, people.
Okay? Saying thank you. I don't need you to thank me. It's if I did something for you, it's because I wanted to do something for you. All right? Don't tell me that. Saying I'm sorry. It is just it is so stupid. That don't mean nothing. If you're truly sorry about something, if you want to apologize, do it by way of action. Show the person that you're going to do differently than whatever it is you did that made you think you owed an apology. Act different. The crap's wrong with y'all, man?
Well, you do those things too.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Do
I
what?
gave you that jacket the other day, and you said, "Yeah, thanks, Bubba."
You say sorry
Well,
to me, too.
I just did that because you guys are all civilized people. I know
And
you're
when
going to
you-
get freaking offended if I don't.
When you get real worked up and you start going, you say, "I know, guys. I got worked up. I'm sorry."
Yep.
Yeah, I do that.
You apologize-
to accommodate y'all's
You say
daggone
sorry to me,
y'all-
too.
Yes, I do that to accommodate you guys' civility.
Well,
Say-
look, if you want them to stop, quit accommodating. You're just enabling it to keep going. Stop
Saying
doing
sorry is the beginning of the change. It's acknowledging to the other person that you know you did wrong, and then the behavior change comes after that.
Sorry.
Now, some people say sorry about everything. That's silly.
Sorry.
it. Bless you. Sorry. Thank you. Please. Bless you. Sorry. Thank you. Please.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just say it all. Just say it all.
I don't understand why please and thank you is such a bad thing. I just don't understand.
It's just a waste. It's just an absolute waste. And you know, when all this stuff goes to the pots, when this internet collapses, when we get hit with the EMP, when all of these all of these illegal immigrants decide to start attacking us and from within, and we're just in all out anarchy and war. Yeah.
Can you hand me my gun, please?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Bless
but
you.
thank you for that. Now I'll shoot. Yeah. It's freaking ridiculous, man.
What about Canadians that say sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry about what?
Sorry about that.
Boat. A
Oh,
boat.
that, man, you know what? That leads me into my first topic of the episode here.
Bless you.
You speaking about
Canadians.
you're talking about Canadians.
Canadians.
Look, man.
Where?
The only good thing that's coming out of Canada these days is the gold.
You mean Canada?
Yeah. Yeah. The only good thing coming out of Canada these days is the gold. Okay.
All right.
Actually, we just had the rock course this past weekend. We just had 4 Canadian students.
Yep, pretty
come
cool.
out.
I didn't know.
Yeah, 2 of the 4 made it through. Yeah.
Wow.
Did Steve get with you?
Yeah. So, I take that back then. There are some good people in Canada.
Mr. Moon.
There are some good people in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
The Jansons.
Yeah.
We love them. There's a lot of good people.
Well,
coming out of Canada.
they've immigrated. They've immigrated. now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of cool people that live in Canada. They're tough. Canada just
When
sucks.
you go from being a Canadian, though, to an American, you move up like 10 notches in pretty much everything.
says the American.
Well, I mean, it's just the evidence of it. But, I posted a truck talk, I don't know, Monday or something. Mm-hmm. And I talked about toting a gun with you. I said, look, man, because y'all know we just had this. Did y'all know about that mass shooting up in Maine?
Yeah, that was
Y'all
a
hear about
veteran.
that?
Yeah,
Yes, dude
sad.
freaking went around. I don't know how many people he killed.
He was in the reserves.
Killed dozens of people, didn't he?
Yeah, and
And-
injured a lot.
Yeah.
too.
And so, my truck talk was all about, look, man, when are y'all going to start taking this seriously? Like, when y'all going to, if you are a good, God-fearing American person who freaking gives a crap, start toting a gun, man. You know how to stop a crazy person with a gun? You kill them with a gun. That's about it.
Let's
Chili?
make sure people get training before
Got
they
that
start carrying a gun.
Yes.
leg
though.
with you?
Get training.
Yeah.
Go talk to my man Edgar
Yeah,
at
and-
Osprey Shooting Solutions. He'll train you, man. Look, I'm going to have Edgar on the podcast later this week. Yeah, get some training, get a gun, and carry the stinking gun. Yes, you are going to have to start carrying a gun, Chili.
Ooh.
I'm sick of you going unarmed. Okay?
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I post this video. I see all these comments coming through from people in Canada, from people in Australia, from people in Hawaii, from people in New Zealand, talking about, oh, I'm glad you don't come over to Australia. We don't have gun violence over here because they've banned all our guns. We don't have guns over here. We don't have to worry about that mass shooting violence. Joke's on you, sucker. Joke is on you. Because let me tell you right now, this old boy ain't forgot what it looked like for you, Australian, what it looked like for you, Canadian, what it looked like for you, New Zealander, what it looked like for you, freaking all over the daggone world, all you first world countries that chose to give up your freaking guns. Ain't nobody around this joint right here forgot about what the crap it looked like for you in 2020 and 2021. Where they're putting y'all in freaking camps, man.
Looked about like it did here.
No, sir.
Yes,
no,
sir. Yes, sir.
It was on a whole nother level, son.
That's where it's unfortunate that you're wrong.
No, sir. It was on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Now, right here, some places in the United States, I would agree with that. But let me tell you, I know people who live in New Zealand. And the stuff that was happening in New Zealand won't happening in Georgia.
They weren't allowed to leave their homes.
I'm going to go
period.
ahead and tell you,
Yeah.
it won't happen in here.
That was wild.
I'm talking about they was putting these jokers in freaking literal camps. Like they were literally, the police were showing up. If you had a gas station open to shut you down. You weren't allowed to leave your yard. I'm talking about, yes, it was. We ain't forgot about that. Joke is on you, sucker. You don't even understand, man. Being free is dangerous. It ain't freaking easy. It's hard. Y'all jokers in all the first world countries, and maybe it wasn't you. Maybe you aren't the one who decided to give your guns up. Maybe it was your parents. Maybe it was your grandparents that screwed you over. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the fact that we are able to keep and bear arms is literally the only thing that stands between us and complete and absolute control by those who are in power. That's it. You can dispute it all you want, Chili,
Well, Chad,
but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, son.
Well, Chad, it's illogical what you're saying. I mean, you act like when the government gets tyrannical, all these people with all these citizens with guns are going to rise up and do something. They've got tyrannical. They've done it, and everybody sat there and looked at them. Look, man, they've done it.
I got a truck talk coming out tomorrow that answers your question about that.
When they get tyrannical, man, I'm gonna get pissed, and I'm gonna start, and we're gonna, when they get tyrannical, man, dude, they've gotten tyrannical. It's decades too late. What do you like? It's exactly how it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and devolve into the exact picture in another country, and that's going to get worse, and it's all going to be unified and worse and worse and worse. It's because, when it gets bad enough, I'll do it. When it gets there, I'll do it. And guess what? You'll never do it. So
you might be right.
So I don't think
you might be right.
It does a dang thing to have guns when you don't. They call you bluff, man.
You know
the whole when they get tyrannical thing. You sound retarded if you keep saying that. They've gotten tyrannical.
You might be right. But what I'm going to tell you is at least there's still a chance.
Well, there's not really.
And for first world countries who have been disarmed, there is not a chance left. There's no chance.
Well, yeah. There ain't no chance here either.
At least there's still a chance. I believe there is still a chance.
Well, hope can be a driving force.
I was listening to somebody talking about this new technology that China already has, supposedly, that we're working on, and it's like drone warfare. That now they use like computers and stuff to fly them and remotes. I'm sure it's way further than I can explain, but the goal is to have them like AI. And I just was picturing that, like if something ever went bad and all of us have rifles, shotguns, handguns, and the government's got a fleet of drones that are ran by AI that they can put out on their people. Like, we'd be screwed. We're not all getting AI drones and missiles and like
it's a hard fight anytime you have an air asset bearing down on you.
Yeah, if the government wanted to stomp us, they could do it.
Like send me shoot clay.
But let me tell you, man, a bunch of stinking rednecks that are armed up and organized. You know how many people I need? I need less than 1%.
No fats, right?
No fats. I need less than 1% of people who are equipped and trained.
What are they going to do?
I could literally do whatever I wanted with less than 1%.
Okay.
Yep. I know you don't understand that.
You could take out who you needed to take out?
I could literally take control of everything. Yeah. On the continent. Straight up.
Do you know who you need to target?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now, y'all get mad at me.
So that's
y'all are getting out of control.
Talk about numbers. Yeah. I know you don't believe that. That's a fact.
You don't know what you're talking about, man.
Y'all look at history, man.
Yeah, okay, look at history. What was the difference in now and then? Why was it able to happen? Why did it work? Because they had a place to go and they knew who to target. They knew what they had to do. You don't know what are you going to do? Go make Sleepy Joe go away? What's that going to do, man? That ain't going to do nothing.
Oh, man, you got to develop an intel network.
I mean,
look, man.
Like,
history is very clear on the gun control issue. All right. I mean, come on. Like, you can look at so many examples of this. Nazi Germany. When the Nazi Party gained power, they relaxed the gun regulation on the Nazi Party members, but the laws were tightened, specifically banning the ownership of guns by Jews. Nazi laws systematically disarmed so-called unreliable persons also, while relaxing restrictions for Nazi Party members. The policies were later expanded to include the confiscation of arms in occupied countries.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do.
You can look at Stalin. You can look at China's history. You can look.
They all took the guns, and that's what they're going to do here.
It is headed that way. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, they ain't taking mine.
Well,
they ain't taking mine.
Well, they ain't got to take yours.
I'm gonna. So, how many of you out there are like me and say, "Hey, buddy, you ain't taking mine"?
Yeah.
So you want to prove Chili wrong? Now, when I die, I got no control left. I'm actually thinking about having a child, just so there can be somebody left who says, they ain't taking mine, son.
Done recording.
I'm thinking about having a son, just so I know there's at least one person left up around this joint who say no.
Yeah, most people said they ain't doing this, they ain't doing that, they ain't doing this, and then they've all done it.
Well, I can only speak for myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can speak for. But if you want to look at history, look at Stalin took the guns, Hitler did, Mao did.
Yep.
Guess what? They did it very easily, very peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
Very easy.
Yep,
they gave them up. They didn't take them. Actually, that's a misnomer. They didn't take them.
Yeah,
they were willingly given to them.
Just like,
and that's exactly what will happen here and everywhere else.
Well, it's already happened in Australia. It's already happened in New Zealand. It's happening.
That'll happen here.
And already happened in Canada.
And what most people don't understand,
what the crap is wrong with y'all?
Is they're sitting at home saying, "Well, no, it ain't gonna be me either. I ain't taking mine." Guess what? They probably will. You'll give them up. It won't take much. Don't take much pressure. You'll give them up.
I agree with you. A lot of people who say they ain't taking mine under pressure
certainly will.
Well, just go ahead and hand them right over, man.
Certainly will.
I'll agree with you on that. Look, we found something that we're in agreement on.
Yeah.
But the good news is I only need less than 1%.
Well, you better hope that many keep them.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
There's always hope. All right.
Well, Blake,
I was
just going to say, y'all ain't going to agree on much because Chili come here wanting to fight. He's got some anger. Pent up anger he needs to get out inside too long.
Look, I put this new shirt up for sale on Monday. Look at this shirt. All right. I put this new shirt up for sale on Monday. Literally mentioned it on a truck talk. And y'all jokers bought every stinking shirt in less than 24 hours.
We're going to do the best we can next couple days, get them all out, have them back in stock. There's more coming. We're going to do what we can. But y'all going to have to bear with me on that.
I'm going to tell y'all, man, this shirt, look, if y'all going to buy this shirt, I'm gonna, when Chili, if you ever get some back in stock, I'm going to explain to you. I actually drew this on a piece of paper. You remember? Did you ever see it, baby?
I saw it.
Okay. This image on this shirt was a direct reflection of my mind. I drew this with a pencil on a piece of paper, okay? Every aspect of this design has meaning. I'm going to explain the depth of meaning behind this design right here if Chili ever gets them back in stock. And let me tell you, if you're going to buy one of these shirts and you're going to wear it around, you better be the right person. That's all I got to tell you. Y'all talk about something while I go pee. What do y'all want to talk about while I go pee?
Do you really have to go pee?
Yeah, I really got to go pee. What are y'all going to talk about while I'm gone? See here, guys, I'm proving my point here. Hosting a podcast is not easy. See, I walk out of here and these jokers just sit like they're lumps on a log, right? So they'll find something to talk about for y'all while I go pee.
Well, I could sit here and talk about
Can we just talk crap about him?
the economic ramifications in Kazakhstan right now, but that's getting a little off topic. Chad gets pissed about that.
That sounds really interesting.
I could talk about the World Series.
No, that's gay.
I could talk about shipping shirts.
I could talk
about the NBA starting back up.
On the way here, someone played Christmas music, and it really upset me.
Why?
It just really upset me. I just think that people shove Christmas down people's throats, and I'm offended.
Brooke, you lose all energy when he goes out of the room. Have you noticed that?
Wait.
When Chad goes out of the room, you lose all energy. You're talking about Christmas.
I'm saying we should not be playing Christmas music right now.
Well,
But I think Kazakhstan's way more interesting, so next time we should talk about that.
oh yeah, Kazakhstan. You know what that? Yeah, what two countries does Kazakhstan border? You know that?
Kazakhstan?
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about Kazakhstan or Kazakhstan?
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even freaking know what you're talking about. So I left out here and they don't even know what the crap that they're talking about, guys.
Modern day Mongolia.
You know
about that?
How are you going to show up to a podcast?
Ottoman Empire.
No, You throw it at people like a baseball. You go on some crazy rant. We're all trying to follow your wild thoughts and the screaming and all this, and then you go, "All right, y'all take it from here," and then you just walk away. Like you don't. No.
Yeah, it's your job, man. I mean, I could show up here and get halfway through setting this up and say, "I'm out. Y'all set it up, son." What
Well,
you show up
I was
to
going to
a
talk
live?
about baseball, and I got shut down.
I like baseball.
Yeah.
Who's in the World Series this year?
The Rangers and the Diamondbacks, man.
Dang, that ain't happening in a long time.
You remember the '98 Braves, Chili?
Who are the Rangers
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Diamondbacks? What city did
the
they go
New
with?
England Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you know that?
Baby,
Bet
I
on.
used to play baseball.
What?
Yeah,
Bet
oh,
on.
yeah. I was
He's good.
so
No,
oh,
that
yeah.
wasn't right, was it? For real?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Arizona Diamondbacks.
So I used to. I mean, I played baseball all through middle school.
I mean,
I was a catcher. Really good, really good.
Who'd you model your game after?
Mostly Chipper Jones. Back then,
Yeah.
Chipper Jones was big.
Yeah.
Mark
One of the
McGuire.
best catchers. Chipper
You a
Jones
switch
was the
hitter?
best catcher.
You a switch hitter?
Nah, I always batted right-handed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He caught left-handed though. That's what was weird about him.
When I wasn't catching, though, I'd play a little right field, left field. Didn't play much center field.
Utility man.
Yeah. Didn't really enjoy playing the infield. It just wasn't really my style.
Got on you a little too quick.
Yeah, shortstop.
Yeah.
It was like balls coming at you, shortstop,
Yeah.
run coming at you. It was just
Hard to get a touchdown like that.
It really wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I still follow baseball. So
I totally agree with this guy, the UFOs. He said sports are just a distraction. And I think it is something the government manufactured, kind of like Instagram and Facebook, just to keep us distracted. Like
sports are for peasants.
College ball day is when the government's doing like the most sketchy stuff ever. But nobody's paying attention because they're all watching football.
What is college ball day?
I don't know. Whatever day
It's the
colleges
Super
play.
Bowl. It's the Super
No,
Bowl,
not
dude.
the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, like
playoffs.
Isn't
Y'all
there
remember when that scuba dive thing blew up underwater?
at
Yeah,
Titanic?
Scuba dive.
Yeah, that tank thing they took underwater.
yeah, I remember that propane tank.
Scuba dive thing?
Yeah.
Wait, what does that
You
have
got
to do with
something on
anything?
that?
That was a big distraction too. A lot of other stuff went down on that day
Yeah.
supposedly.
It was, yeah. All a lot of this crap going on in with Israel and Palestine, which Chile has a lot of information on that, but a lot of that's just a distraction too. But yeah, you're right. Sports are for all of you fat, lazy peasants. to keep you guys, something to occupy your thoughts and something to occupy your time. That's all they're for.
Chicken wings, jerseys, screaming, beer, and the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep, that's chilly. That's chilly. For sure. All right. Well, thanks for giving us an update on baseball.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
I want to share something with you guys. I want to pick up on a conversation that we had last week where we were talking about that if you want to be saved, basically that praying, accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior. And Chili brought up a really good point. And he in a way, respectfully, because he's respectful to me, I am his elder, he respectfully challenged me on that as if I was promoting the concept of cheap grace. In other words, I can just say this prayer and I'm good to go. I can just say this prayer and I can roll along and keep living my life, man. And, we kind of hit that. I explained to Chili that I wasn't advocating for cheap grace, and that there has to be things that change along with you accepting Christ by way of the sinner's prayer. I'm reading this book right now. Does anybody know who this guy is?
I can't read it. What's his name?
I do, but you
Dietrich Bonhoeffer?
Yeah.
You told me.
What do you know about him, Chill? Because I really, for real, because I don't
never
know,
met him.
But I just, about his history. Am I incorrect in saying that this gentleman right here, he was German, and he was actually caught in a plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler? Is that correct?
I don't even know about that. I mean, I don't. Yeah, like I know all this stuff about him. I never met him.
You idiot. As far as I know, he was caught in a plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler, and shortly after being caught, he was sentenced to death by hanging, and they hung him. Well, this book right here is simply called Discipleship, okay? And one of Bonhoeffer's main topics that he discusses, both in this book and also in his other book, which is titled The Cost of Discipleship, is the concept of costly grace, all right? I read something in this book that really impacted me just earlier today. And I'm going to read it to you guys. When someone says at the end of their life of seeking knowledge, quotations, I see that we can know nothing. So he's describing someone who's at the end of their life and they've spent their whole life seeking knowledge, and they come to the conclusion at the very end, I see that we can know nothing.
I've gotten close to that.
You got a long ways to go.
No, I've gotten close to coming to that conclusion.
Okay. But it has to come at the end of your life.
Talked about it a lot. Well, maybe this is the end of my life.
So, when someone says that at the end of their life, then it is a conclusion. You understand? Something can only be a conclusion if it comes toward the end, because you have to try first. Right? So, it's a conclusion. As a result, it's a conclusion. It is something entirely different than when a student repeats this same statement during the first semester of school to justify his laziness. You guys understand that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I say on this podcast all the time that I approach the notion that you really can't know anything. Yet I I do think it would be quite the mistake to assert for certain that you can't know anything, because in my estimation, that is a contradictory statement, because asserting that you cannot know anything suggests that you do know that you cannot know anything. So that would be thus knowing something. So I avoid saying that you cannot know anything. But it does seem that way, I will say. But I haven't come to that conclusion.
So
what he's saying is he would be describing me in the first semester of my life that basically it's that exactly, that I feel this way or think that way, but I haven't come to that conclusion to the end.
Yep. Because it can only be a conclusion if you've exhausted your time and efforts. Yeah, and that is what it leads to.
But I don't believe you can ever exhaust the efforts either. I don't believe you can make that conclusion at the end of your life for certain. But I also don't think it's a waste to seek knowledge, even with the idea or the notion that you cannot actually know anything.
I've wondered about that, like certain things in the Bible that, like, you were not going to get any further, but you can research and read other people's, like, theology on things. Like, is that a waste of time? I think even in the face of an impossible task of gaining knowledge, I think it's the only worthwhile endeavor to undertake on the earth, is to gain knowledge that you won't ever get.
Yeah, I figured you were going to like this, Chili, because it ties into one of your principles that you're most adamant about, which, by the way, was deeply impactful to Lenny Jr. on this past ROP course. He shared it with us in the After Actions report, that the most impactful quote, literally, that he had ever heard was when you told him he must live life and accept the reality that, in a way of accepting the reality that there is no finish line. Yeah. Like, you have to keep trying. You have to keep searching. You have to keep going, even when you come to the realization that there's not going to be a finish line, which means you're going to have to keep trying the entire time.
Who are you doing that for, though? Is it for your own good, or is, like, in a spiritual way, is it just you're doing that for God?
So in this book right here, Costly Grace, he's talking about it in a spiritual sense.
So it's something that God wants us to do. It's not like to better our character. I guess both come with, huh?
I think it's how we were created, so it's not, you don't have to separate it from the tangible physical realm and then also the spiritual realm, because I think, to me, it only becomes consistent if you accept that we were created with this ingrained in us by God. And I think that God created us we are wired that way against our will. Essentially, we can't change the fact that we're wired that way, and it actually works out practically in that it makes your life better whenever you come to that realization. And what I mean by we're wired that way is, I don't really understand that. I don't know why we're wired the way we are, or how. Obviously, I definitely don't understand how God created us, but I think the alternative, it works out to where the alternative is you give up and you die.
Metaphorically and physically.
The only way to keep living is to keep pursuing something, right? Keep seeking God and keep pursuing a finish line that doesn't exist. And most people can't wrap their head around that because they think it's foolish. They think it's hopeless. They say, well, hopelessness is built into the statement, a finish line that doesn't exist. But what you fail to realize is the ultimate hopelessness is to not pursue it at all, because that's your alternative. You have two choices. It's just reality that the finish line doesn't exist that we're all looking for. So then you have two options. You can either pursue it regardless of that fact and essentially just make the best out of it, or you cannot pursue it at all and you die.
Yeah.
You're spiritually dead and you physically die. You're going to physically die anyway, but the physical death happens much quicker and less abundantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because any purpose or any action or anything that's driving you just disappears. And
that's interesting because that probably not saying that to Lenny, but the time I spent with him on that ROP course, in between that second point and third point was that was probably the most impactful part of that to me as well. So I enjoyed getting to do that. And he's a special kid too.
Yeah,
so.
Lenny Jr. Yeah, he got a lot out of that, man. It was eye-opening for me during this Rite of Passage course that we did with Trades Talk and Steven and his guys, because we had three young men that were still in their teens. And it was really interesting to me of how much those young men got out of that course. When I heard,
I hope so.
When I heard Lenny Jr. share and Sebastian, and even Steve Jr., like they were deeply impacted in a positive way by that course. And you could just see it by the look on their face during the after actions report. Like they were like, holy crap. The things that were said out there, the things that we got to experience, the things that we went through, I think they would agree it has changed them. And I don't know, man. It for me, I definitely think the ROP course is equal. It is definitely impactful for adults, and for some adults, it is equally impactful. But I think those young men were impacted more by that mission than anybody else there. And I don't know. It's actually made me consider potentially doing something once a year that's specifically for that age group, even though I can't stand youth. I think if they're going to get that much out of it, it's going to change the trajectory of their life, and the fact that they have a lot more life left than somebody in their 40s and 50s, it's worthwhile.
And if you can't stand them, why don't you try to make an impact
on
that?
It's good for me. I mean, if I
he can stand them, he just likes saying that.
It's just going to give me permission to be more mean to him.
That's just a trope he likes to exhaust. He likes youth.
Y'all need to partner with James and Beyond and do something next year.
Well, we'll see what happens with it, but
I agree with you. That should be done.
Yeah, I think that's a potential. So, Mr. Bonhoeffer continues on in the book here. He says, used as a conclusion, in other words, this statement, I see that we can know nothing, used as a conclusion, the sentence is true. As a presupposition, it is self-deception. So what he's saying is the student who in the first semester tries to use this statement, I see that we can know nothing, to justify his laziness, he's deceiving himself, whereas the man who has spent his entire life seeking knowledge comes to the ultimate conclusion at the end of his life, I see that we can know nothing. It is in that manner a conclusion and is true. That means that knowledge cannot be separated from the existence in which it was acquired. Only those who, in following Christ, leave everything they have can stand and say that they are justified solely by grace. They recognize the call to discipleship itself as grace, and grace as that call. But those who want to use this grace as to excuse themselves from discipleship are deceiving themselves. Yep. So Bonhoeffer here is talking about this concept, or this is being talked about in context of discipleship. And it ties into our conversation last week, because what we talked about at the moment of salvation, we can choose to...
I can't be perfect, so I'm not even going to try.
Exactly. We can say, you know what? We've accepted Christ. We're forgiven by his grace. So why, done. Why then do I need to take being a disciple of Christ seriously? Why then does it need to cost me anything? I can't be good anyways. So that is cheap grace. You know, go ahead, Chill.
No, it's what people do. It's what there's a tendency in human nature to do it with everything. When people are way overweight and they're staring down at a mountain of work to do to rectify their situation and improve their health, they go, I'm never going to be as fit as, name the person, Courtney DeWalter or Harvey Lewis or whatever the name is you want to say. I don't know. I can't even think of a fit person right now, but there's plenty of them. And they go, I'm never going to be that. I'm never going to be, the best health that I was, but they completely throw out the fact that they could be better than they are now. They completely throw out the fact that they could improve their health greatly and potentially prolong their productive years on the earth, and throw out the fact that they could be a better mother or father or husband and wife or whoever they are. They completely throw that out because they'll never be perfect. They'll never get to that finish line. They don't freaking exist anyway. You do it with everything.
My thought was just like, I was thinking if there's anything in our basic human experience where there is an actual finish line. Is there anything where we're like, exactly. I don't think there's anything like.
But you don't know when that is anyway, so forget about it.
Right.
It shouldn't even exist to you. You don't know when it is. You don't. It's inconsequential. Just live.
Well, this book is really challenging me to think in my own personal. My own personal life, I guess, and even the ministry aspect of what we do here at 307 Project. And in this particular chapter in Discipleship, Bonhoeffer is basically saying this concept of cheap grace, meaning we can accept Christ, we're covered by grace, we know we can't be good, so we don't need to try. We just need to go on about our life. We don't need to take discipleship and following Christ seriously and give it our best effort. He's saying that this is the main thing. This message of cheap grace is the main thing that has eroded the body of Christ or the church here on earth. In other words, he makes a statement in here somewhere. I remember reading it. He says that basically the whole world has become Christianized because we can all just it's
all inclusive.
We've all just accepted. We've all just been preaching this idea of cheap grace without sacrifice, without discipleship, and that it's just available to all. And so then what we end up having is a massive amount of lukewarm people. And it's made me think about, people who will approach me and want to accept Christ, want to be baptized, which, by the way, we've baptized numerous people. Blake just baptized a gentleman on Sunday. But I feel the need to have a discussion with these people about the cost of discipleship. And you have to take that aspect of salvation seriously. Because the grace that God gives us wasn't cheap. The cost was the life of his son. The grace that we've received is not cheap. So why do we cheapen it by saying, we're good, man, we're saved, we're Christians, let's just stick our freaking head in a hole and live like the world because we can't be good anyways, and we're going to be good to go.
I mean, I can't, nobody can judge anybody's salvation, but I've got to think that we've got it all wrong. When you think that you need to do these things, right? Like, so I need to live this way because I was saved. It shouldn't be that way. It should be, I'm saved, now I can't help but live this way. It's a result. It's not an effort. Again, I can't say it, but for me personally, from what I read in the Bible, I feel like if you're having to strive to do these things and it's not a desire in your heart, do you know Jesus at all? I mean, I don't know. I'm just posing the question.
Yeah.
At Romans 6, Paul writes, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? He's saying, should we just keep sinning because there's so much grace out there? Who cares?
That's what Bonhoeffer's alluding to.
Yeah. And he says in verse 2, certainly not. How shall we who died to sin live any longer in it? Or do you not know that as many of us were baptized into Christ Jesus were baptized into his death? So he's saying, no, you don't keep sinning because grace abounds. If you died in sin to Jesus and now you're following him, how can you live in that anymore? If you put the old self to death, how can you now live in sin? It just doesn't work. It's like we teach this grace or this faith by works with unknowingly. We teach it in America, and that's what's out there. We talk about what you need to do, and this is how a Christian should live. And you know what all those things are? They're a litmus test for your heart and how well you know Jesus and how much you love him. Because all those things should happen. Yeah, you might still struggle and fall, but it shouldn't be like just a grind every day. Like, oh gosh, this is so hard. And no, it should be what you want to do. Your desires should become in alignment with him. And that's what I think about it. I mean, I don't think it should be a struggle.
If
it
shouldn't be a struggle, though, why does everybody talk about how much suffering and sacrifice will come with it?
Well,
because isn't it hard I don't know. What do you think about that,
Well,
Blake?
people call it suffering and sacrifice, but you read where Peter and the disciples were persecuted in the Bible, and when they leave, they say, we count it joy that we got to be persecuted for this. Now, maybe not when they were being tortured and killed. Maybe that part of their flesh, they didn't say that. But if you look at their life, every time they were persecuted, they counted it joy because that ensured them that they were on the path of serving the Lord and that he was still using them, because that's what he tells us will happen to us. So maybe it is suffering. It's considered suffering to the flesh, but to the spirit, it should be uplifting.
Yeah.
Well, walking this out, though, tangibly, what is so the thing is although that change happens in your heart, like you were saying, Blake, when you receive the Holy Spirit and your wants, you want to follow Christ, right? You want to be a disciple. You can still stand in the way of that. And so I think this is, I'll give you an example. The other day, I literally thought, after I had this interaction with this guy in town that I told you guys about on the podcast the other day, I thought, you know what, man? I'm going to go into town, and I'm just going to sit there in that area, and I'm going to bring some food with me, and I'm going to bring my Bible with me, and I'm just going to hang out, and hopefully I'll get to see this guy again. Now, that is what a disciple of Christ should want to do. But what did I say? I said, nah, not today. I got other things to do today. Not tomorrow either. I got other things to do tomorrow. that's going to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be seen out there doing that, right? Nah. And I've still yet to go do it. So, although the thoughts and the desires of your heart do change, many times I stand in the way.
Yeah.
Of actually doing those things.
Well, that's
because
what-
of my own convenience.
That's what I'm saying is it's a test to you. You know what you should do, and you didn't do it because of yourself. So that's a test of you that to say I haven't put this part of myself to death. I haven't surrendered this part of my life to you, God, and that's what that's showing you. It's not had you said, all right, I'm whatever I feel, I'm gonna go do it anyways because that's what I want to do. The act doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't matter whether you do it or don't. It's revealing your heart to yourself.
Yeah.
So we're all going to have those things where we don't want to do, like our flesh, our whatever you want to call it, our flesh takes over and we yield to that rather than to the Holy Spirit. But then all that shows us is that, well, you haven't put that area to death yet, so you need to work on that.
Yep.
I'm not saying that as soon as you follow God, boom, every desire you have aligns and it's easy going and you're just going to do everything He wants you to do. And when He calls you to be uncomfortable, it's not going to be uncomfortable because now you're in alignment with the Lord. There will be things that way, but there'll also be things like you just said, and then that should show you, okay, well, I haven't totally put myself to death yet because I just did what I wanted to do instead of what I know I should do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and aren't we all going to be doing the scenario you just laid out? Aren't we all going to be doing that until the day we die? Like,
Yeah, so
To a degree.
Yeah, and I'm covered by grace anyway, so why do I even try anymore?
well, no. See, that was going to be where I went with that. It's like
Yeah.
it's just a constant struggle, but that's okay.
That's okay.
And I like what you said from them walking away from the struggle of like, I don't know, it's like an opportunity.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Okay, this is something I need to work on. Well, I was going to ask you when you were talking about like when I go to baptize somebody, this is what I heard. I'm probably paraphrasing. I would like to know that they understand the cost of discipleship and they're ready. And
Even the concept of discipleship.
yes.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I was like, how do you do that? How do you like Blake said, like that was popped in my head too, like a litmus test for that blankets over every person you could come across. Like, how do you prepare? Because we all have different faults. We all have different gifts. And God's using us all in different ways. So, like, how can you communicate that cost and make sure someone's ready? Like, how do you do that?
Well, I think for me, going to Scripture is a good start. So, he kind of alludes to that in chapter 2 here. Let's read this to you guys. This is Mark chapter 2, verse 14. As Jesus was walking along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." He got up and followed him. Now, this is Bonhoeffer speaking. The call goes out, and without any further ado, the obedient deed of the one called follows. The disciples' answer is not a spoken confession of faith in Jesus. Instead, it is in the obedient deed. How is this direct relation between call and obedience possible? It is quite offensive to natural reason. Reason is impelled to reject the abruptness of the response. It seeks something to mediate it. It seeks an explanation. In other words, he's saying right here, we can go back to Scripture as we explain, if we want to explain what discipleship looks like. It is a literal following Christ. It is abrupt. It's not something. There's not some middle ground. Hey, all right, man. Christ has called you to follow him. Follow him. right? And I'm looking forward to getting more into that. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that Bonhoeffer writes here. There's none of us are exactly right. But this is definitely a challenging thing to read here, especially for us as Americans.
Yeah.
So,
my thoughts too are drifting to like the cheap grace but also like on the counter, just like the verse from Paul that everybody quotes about, I do the things I don't want to do. And, it's like, how do you counter that with the fact that we fall and sin and our flesh is what we're fighting against our whole lives? And that humbles us enough to make us realize that we need Jesus. Like, I don't know, like I feel like there's a part of the striving for perfection. It's like we're taking control.
well, you can get way off on this.
Yeah. And there's something there that's like, there's a balance of like, just, okay, I am gonna, I don't know, there's something there. It's like a realization that like you have some control, but you're really not in control. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think I can articulate it well enough to keep going.
Oh yeah, we've had that discussion many times on the podcast.
Oh
yeah,
It always turns into a free will discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, it just inevitably does. But we are unable to reconcile the fact that acceptance of Christ does not result in immediate perfection. We can't reconcile that. It in many ways, it seems that should be the way that it works, but it doesn't work. It doesn't. You can see that it doesn't, but then why does it not? I mean, that's what this whole discussion is reconciling.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see if I can word this right? Do you guys think that if somebody has been saved and they are walking well with Christ and like their life mirrors that, if their life starts going downhill because they make a couple bad decisions, would you guys look at that and consider a reflection of how good their relationship is with Christ? Like if they made poor decisions and it's impacting their life negatively, would you say you're probably not right with God? Or is there a chance that God gave those things to them for a purpose and it's not a reflection of the things they're doing or not doing in their relationship?
What did they do? I mean, what made their life go downhill?
I'm trying to think of an example. Like something.
Yeah, if somebody cheats on their wife, then I would say, well, I don't know how you can walk hand in hand with Christ and cheat on your wife.
Yeah.
I still can't judge their relationship, but I can say for me, if I'm really close to Christ, I don't know how I could do that.
Yeah.
But, like if they're like Job, they lose everything they've got and,
Not by way of Job's decisions. Though.
Right. But if things like that happen to them, I feel like there's a thread of, like, am I saved or am I not saved in this? Like,
Yeah, of course.
People. And so I was studying earlier this week. It's in 1 John 2, and it says, Chile talks about we can't really know anything, and this is something the Bible tells us that we can know. It says, now by this we know that we know him, talking about Jesus, if we keep his commandments. He who says, I know him, and does not keep his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever keeps his word, Jesus' word, truly the love of God is perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. And that's a pretty...
But once again, none of us do all the time.
No,
So that's then where you go, well, there's that.
That's a tough
that confusion.
verse, yeah.
There's that, well, that does say you can know this, yet there's still human observation that goes, well, yeah, that dude does most of the time.
Yeah.
But what about that?
That's a tough verse.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still that doubt in our minds.
Yeah, to me, on that specific case there, Chili, that
because
you're
we can't
describing.
reconcile why we're not perfect.
Yeah, I think to me, the what it boils down to in that scenario is when we do screw it up, right? When we don't walk as Christ walks, which is going to happen. And again, nobody can see into your heart and your mind. But the thing that gives me hope is when I do walk contrary to Christ, when I recognize it, it truly grieves me, and I want it to be fixed. Like I desire for it. I want to turn away from it.
What if that's the suffering we're talking about?
Well, and to provide a little context on that, I'll read the verse before it. It says, "My little children, these things I write to you so that you may not sin. And if anyone sins, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. And he himself is the propitiation for our sins, and not only for ours and not for ours only, but also for the whole world." And then it goes into that's titled "The Test of Knowing Him. By this we know him if we keep his commandments." So he starts it out with saying, "I'm writing you this so that you won't sin, but if you do, we have an advocate in the Father, and he has covered our sins." And I think it's getting to what Chad's talking about. You know, if we know him, we're going to keep his commandments. We're going to do the things that he says. But if we say we know him and we walk around and our desire is not to keep him and we don't do anything remotely close to what he's telling us to do, then we're a liar, because we're saying one thing and we're doing the other. And so by not keeping the commandment in the act, you know, I don't know, you might say occasionally or there's no
Daily.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, you know, time reference there or anything, but it's the desire of your heart to do it. And if your heart desires to do it, then you're going to do it a lot more than you're not. If that is your heart's desire, that's my belief. So yeah, by adding that at the beginning, I think that clears up some of what we're.
Well, yeah, and in light of the verse that you read in 1 John there, I mean, when I ask myself, what am I most frequently grieved by? It's myself. That's why this whole, you know, this whole thing about being free from yourself, why it is well, and again, there is another thing that can never be completely achieved in this life. But I am most frequently grieved by me, my decisions, my selfishness, my, you know, desire to do and want things that are apart from Christ. It grieves me. And so for me, ultimately, to cut, the more I can cut down on myself, the less I am grieved.
Yeah.
Because I'm the thing that grieves me the most frequently.
Yeah, the more of yourself you can put to death, the more you can turn over to Christ.
Yeah, and ultimately, the more joyful I become.
Yeah.
So,
but not for sake of your joy, for sake of your love for Christ. It's not
exactly
about the joy. I mean, yeah, that's a byproduct, you can say, but you don't do it for the sake of it, or you shouldn't.
Well, we have the hard conversations here on 3 of 7 podcast, man. Generally, we don't reach many conclusions, but we have the hard conversations. YouTube, do y'all got any questions before we log off of here? Were you going to say something, Chili?
No.
Okay. YouTube, if you got any questions, send them in. Hopefully next week, we're going to be in a brand new studio for you guys. I'll be slaving away tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, getting that thing ready. And hopefully by next Wednesday, will be back in it, or will be in it for the first time. I have a feel I'm going to be interested to see how Chili likes it. We're going to try to make it as comfortable as we possibly can for him. Chili doesn't do well with change. Okay, so we're going to try to make it comfortable on him. But I'm really excited about it.
Just some real simple ones. Just hit these quick. How long have y'all each been on your walk? I would say mine started in 6th grade. Brooke?
Mine was probably 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
About 6 years.
Let's see. Yeah, that's about right. Well, 2015 was probably the start of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Chili?
I think I've said this before. I don't really know. It's been my entire life. I've never known anything different.
So since he come out the womb, he'd been on it for, he'd been going since then. Chad?
Obviously, that's not, but
11 years.
11 years.
11 years.
Guy said, talk about the shirt. You ain't going to do that yet.
No, I'll explain this shirt to y'all when Chili gets them back in stock.
What was Chili's struggle? Keeping them shirts in stock.
Yeah.
Mein Kampf.
Can y'all do a basic shooting course? Not for the public. You got to train with us. We had some skid marks come out one time and ruined it for everybody. So.
We ain't training the general public.
No.
No. Not to use guns.
No.
Super chats.
Yeah, we got a few super chats I took pictures of here. Let me reference back to them. So we got one here from Andrew Cargile, $10.
Andrew, thank you, good sir.
We got Larry Medina, not to be confused with Funky Cold Medina, $1.99. Chad, remind folks not to tuck their ears in.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yep.
Ira Beam gave $37, said, have you noticed who mostly goes off the deep end? Quotation. Hint, who was it that killed Chris Kyle? So, appreciate that, Ira.
Thank you, Ira.
Danny J gave $10, said, death is inconsequential, just live. Quote from Chili, he said, I needed to hear that. Cheers, lady and gents.
Who was that?
That was Danny J.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Artie Rowe gave $10. Said, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ.
Artie, thank you, brother.
Yep.
Amen to that.
That's what I got.
Yeah. Well, Ira was referencing veterans going off the deep end.
Okay.
That's what Ira was referencing.
That's a
Let me
long
tell you
conversation.
guys, man. Look, whatever you think about veterans, whatever you think about people, because the perspective on people who served in the military has changed quite a bit over the last few years. I don't think that we're in a place now where you guys hate veterans like it sounds like it was back during Vietnam and stuff. I don't think we're in a place, but I think that people are viewing people in the military now as the strong arm of our government to carry out its agenda globally. And I do want to say there is some truth to that. But I want to tell you, I also believe at the same time, 90+% of guys and girls who served in the military were doing it because they wanted to serve their country. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, man, unless you've lived that life, you don't know nothing about the crap what you're talking about, man. You have no idea what the crap you're talking about unless you've lived that life. You can't even freaking imagine how stressful that life is and the amount of sacrifice that life requires. So the best thing you can do, unless you have served in the United States military, the best thing you can do is keep your freaking mouth shut about crap you don't know nothing about. So I'll leave y'all with that.
We had a couple other super chats come in. Travis Van Ness gave $20 again.
Thank you, Travis.
Isaiah 6:8, and Artie Rowe gave $2 more. Reference 2 Timothy 2:15. And this question may be worth
Thank you, Artie.
answering if y'all want to answer.
Yeah.
It. Big Ben, he said, "Do you ever feel like you put working out over God?"
Oh, yeah. Did that my whole life. Trying not to now.
Do I feel like I put for me personally, maybe at some point in my life, but I mean I make it a point. I mean, Biscuit, I think you can vouch that I'm not a hypocrite. I make it a point every single day to start my day by reading the Word of God and focusing on that. And most of the time, although sometimes I don't, most of the time that includes reading God's Word and prayer. Is that right, Boo Boo?
Yeah, that's accurate.
So that is my priority at the beginning of every single day. I think truly my perspective on fitness, although I do enjoy working out, I think truly my perspective on fitness is, at least most of the time, is that it is a conduit. One, to glorify God, and two, also to make sure that I am physically healthy so that I am prepared physically to do the work that I am being daily called to do.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Now, does that get... is that to say I've never put exercise or physical fitness before God? No, man, I'm not saying never. But I don't. That's not something that
you've never been convicted of. Your exercise. Same
maybe it's happened before, but yeah, no, that's a great question though. And Chili says obviously that's something that he struggled with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still do. I mean, I approach it and always have differently than you. It's never been to prepare myself for anything. It was for the sake of it, and it was for just trying to be good at it and, the best at it and everything. And I worshiped it, and trying not to do that now. Although I don't even know that I would say I put fitness ahead of God. I put myself. I was very selfish. I mean, it was, could have been anything, right? It was just about me. Me. So it's really putting myself ahead of it.
Yeah, and fitness was just the conduit you used to...
That's kind of not important, really. It was myself, so...
Yeah, it's the same thing with... I mean, it could be fitness, it could be whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Knowledge, it could be...
Old Chili, he's really coming along, man. Imagine what he's going to be when he's my age.
Well...
I mean,
I don't know if the world will be around the time he gets up in the years like you, and you kind of long in the tooth.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'll be in my 50s when you're in your 70s.
I know, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
clock's ticking.
We appreciate you tuning in. Lord willing, we'll see y'all next week from the new studio if the tech guy decides to do his job. So, love you guys.
Don't count on it.
Oh my goodness.
Don't count on it.